For a more in-depth look at the midweek markets, we're happy to welcome back William Lee, Chief Economist from the Milken Institute. Thanks for joining us. You're a big Disney fan, aren't you? What do you think of these layoffs?
Hey, Phil, despite the layoffs, he's got to cost cut and get his company back into shape to sort of take on the post-COVID economy. But his results are really fantastic, and it shows the American consumer is spending, but spending on services and vacations because the theme park numbers are just jaw-dropping.
So I was just talking with our intern, Eric, here, and I'm very skeptical of these layoffs. You know why, William? Because first of all, it's not a huge percentage of the company. I don't want to dismay the folks that are laying off, but I feel like companies are using this as an excuse to essentially, number one, get people back in the office. If you don't want to come back to the office, you're fired. Second, it's to get rid of underperforming employees. And yeah, they're going to massage and do some things. But I feel like companies are using this as an excuse now to just, it's really just cost cutting and really getting rid of lower performing employees. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Oh, Phil, you hit it right in the head. A lot of the layoffs here are to get rid of job openings that really are not needed anymore because companies are upgrading their positions. So they're really revising the nature of their jobs. And they're telling everybody, look, you got to be flexible. You got to be able to work according to where the company's going in the future and how we're reshaping ourselves. And Disney's a good example of a company that's going to have to restructure itself.
We had Nathan King on a little bit earlier. I don't know if you heard him talking about the reaction to the State of the Union address. I personally thought President Biden did a good job. You know, I'm not going to take any sides here. The markets didn't seem to react either way, one way or the other. I wanted to get your opinion on what you thought about what he said, specifically about the economy and him saying the job isn't done. What's not done?
Oh, it's not done in the sense of we are not even back to the levels of employment relative to the population that we were pre-COVID. We've created a lot of jobs, but a lot of people have really been decided to leave the labor force and not to get jobs. And you know, the Milken Institute is nonpartisan, so we're neither Democrat nor Republican. But one of the things as an economist you got to say to yourself is, inflation, we've got a stagnating economy. That means we really have a lot of digging to do to try to get the economy back to the same shape it was pre-COVID.
But we don't want the economy back to where it was. I mean, I forgot what it was like pre-COVID, but inflation is coming down. The job market is strong. These companies that are laying off people, that money saved is going to go to the bottom line. We don't see a revenue drop from these companies. So when you say well, go back to what it was pre-COVID, what is the goal? 2% inflation and 8% corporate earnings growth?
2% inflation, and right now corporate profit margins are about 12%. They're normally something on the order of 7 or 8%. So we're way above where the profit margins are, which is a good thing for many companies because they need to invest. But Phil, you got to remember, inflation, I hate to bring up the T word again, but as much as the upswing was not transitory, the downswing may not be transitory, maybe very transitory, in the sense that we are getting signs already that the next inflation number may be a little bit hotter than we've been seeing. So the job for the Fed in terms of keeping the economy contained is not done at all.
I don't know why you got to pour cold water on our party we got going on here. Real technical question: are we going to choose the Philadelphia Eagles with 1.5 or are we not?
But just as the Milken Institute is not politically, one way or the other, I really don't want to choose sides in the Super Bowl. But I am an East Coast guy.
All right, you're choosing Philly, I see, with 1.5. More seriously, the Super Bowl. We often talk about the Super Bowl in terms of how much they spend on per ads for 30 seconds. This year's kind of strange. You know, we had crypto ads in the past, and I know you're not a huge crypto fan, but they apparently are banning the crypto ads for this year's Super Bowl. I don't know if this is in reaction to the big fallout or the fraud case, or maybe there was some pushback from last year's Super Bowl. I don't know where this is coming from. Why ban crypto ads?
Well, it's an admission that crypto really isn't ready for prime time and certainly not ready for Super Bowl. They were premature in putting a lot of money into advertising to get people all excited about it. But the latest bankruptcies that we've seen with FTX just show you got to be careful. And right now, we're not careful enough with these non-bank crypto markets.
Chairman Powell spoke not only after the last rate hike, but this past week as well, saying that rates are expected to move up, inch up, I guess, a little bit more to get inflation under control. It's not new information. My issue with this is that the markets don't seem to believe him, right? Because if you look at long-term rates, they've actually notched a little bit lower, and you have long-term rates essentially lower than the short-term rates, which means that people believe that rates are going to go down in the future. Why doesn't the market believe Powell, and is there something Powell can say to, I guess, get markets to believe him?
Actually, what happened between the Wednesday press conference that Chair Powell and also the release of the very hot employment numbers on Friday was the market suddenly got the shock, the news shock that, hey, my God, the Powell and the Fed forecasts may actually be right. Inflation may take much longer to come down than we thought. And wait until next Valentine's Day when the new inflation numbers come out. You'll see, and here's my prediction, a slightly hotter number than we've been accustomed to seeing, because used car prices starting to pop up again. Energy prices starting to pop up again. So it's not just services that's the source of the inflation. The goods market is not completely wiped out yet.
Stop doing so much shopping, William. Always good to see you, my friend. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.